With the presumption that you have seen the last video on the description of what the Philippine government is, we have the national government, as we remember, to be composed of mainly three branches: Congress, the executive department, and the courts. We are now on the first branch of government we call Congress. What Congress is, or the legislative department, its composition, general composition, is stated in Section 1. It says that legislative power shall be vested in the Congress of the Philippines, which shall consist in the Senate and the House of Representatives, except to the extent reserved to the people by the provision on initiative and referendum. It speaks of legislative power and the composition of the two branches or the two houses of Congress. It says that the legislative power is a power shared by both houses, the upper and the lower. But there is such a thing we call legislative power that is reserved to the people for initiative and referendum. Originally, the intent, they say, for our Congress was to make it unicameral. That is why there are provisions in the Constitution that are not clear on the matter of voting, because perhaps what was in mind then was the unicameral system. But definitely, jurisprudence will clarify it for us when the need arises. An example would be on the manner of voting for the calling or making the propositions for amendments or revision by Congress. No? So the first provision, the first section of on Congress would you would see these terminologies, no? The legislative power and that of the legislative department. We have the legislative branch, which is of the Senate and the House of Representatives. But as far as congressional power or legislative power is concerned, we have Congress exercising its legislative authority, as well as the people themselves who can propose legislation. No? Could be on the Constitution or it could be on statute. So in Article 6, that is clarified in Section 32, that the Congress shall, as early as possible, provide for a system of initiative and referendum and the exceptions therefrom, whereby the people can directly propose and enact laws or approve or reject any act or law or part thereof passed by Congress or local legislature. There are certain provisions of the law or the Constitution that are non-self-executing. For example, the Declaration of Policies and Principles. We all know that the provision on, for example, anti-dynasty um, is dependent on Congress to determine for its being for its enforceability, because the definition of what constitutes a political dynasty is left still on the hands of Congress. Sadly, we have no strong, definite determination or definition of what political dynasties are. In case Congress refuses to enact such a law defining what political dynasties are, we are not helpless because the people, through initiative and referendum, can propose such a law. So, composition per se, we have the House of Representatives, which are composed of not more than 250 members, but it's not absolute because it says that unless otherwise fixed by law. Because the composition of the House of Representatives may vary, because for every period there is a census that is the basis for increase in its membership, with the creation of new districts to make Congress more representative. Further, in the description of what the House of Representatives is, it includes a party list system, which is actually a composed of 20% of the total membership of the House of Representatives. By the way, we don't call the House of Representatives as simply Congress, because Congress includes the upper house of Congress, which is Senate, and the lower house of the House of Representatives. But casually, in our practice, before you knew the law, we usually call members of the House of Reps as congressmen. We also have the Senate. The Senate shall be composed of 24 senators who shall be elected at large by qualified voters of the Philippines, as may be provided for by law. We remember during midterm elections, we only vote for 12 senators, but there are 24 of them because of their staggered terms. But there are 24 senators. For our purposes, we have to memorize in order for us to master the composition, qualifications, and the terms of office of the members of Congress. Um, this is a position that requires a member of both houses to be natural born. Again, such ado about Philippine citizenship precisely for this reason. Um, you have 24 senators, the composition for Senate, and 250 generally for the House of Reps, subject to increases in districts. The term for senators is 6 years, and then they are eligible for it's to commence on sorry the term limit is uh, two two consecutive terms. Anybody can be a senator for life for as long as it's not for two consecutive terms. For the House of Representatives, you have three consecutive terms, but their term is only half of the term of the senators, which is 3 years for every term. For every midterm, we choose a member of the House of Representatives. No, so age for senators, the minimum age is on the day of the election 35. For the members of the House of Representatives, it is 25. But a special consideration for a party list representing the youth has to be only up to 30 years old. Residency, because members of Senate are elected by the people at large from all over the Philippines. They are resident simply for 2 years in the Philippines. For the members of the House of Reps, it's 1 year in the district, no? And they should be registered voter in the district where they intend to run. For the purpose of election laws, we remember that when you speak of the residence, we refer to domicile. Read these cases projected on your screen. And also, as to the matter of terms for our election law purposes, we remember that term is fixed. Okay, it's fixed by law. It cannot be shortened nor extended, no, because it is fixed by law. That's why when an elective official retires, resigns, or dies, the elective official, his replacement only serves the unexpired term because terms are fixed by law. Even if you are preventively suspended, your term runs, though the period of your tenure remains because the office was actually not vacated when you are preventively suspended. We remember also this case of Quinto versus Comelec on the matter of the qualifications for those who want to run for office. If you're an elective official and an appointive official, there's a distinction on the treatment of the election laws as to you. Because appointive officials cannot participate in partisan political activities, unlike elective officials, whose nature is political in character. That's why, if you're an appointive official, you are expected to resign the moment you file your certificate of candidacy. While for elective officials, they remain in office. The distinction is that elective officials get their mandate from the people, and they have to serve by their matter of obligation their entire term, while appointive officials get their mandate from the appointing authority, not the electorate. So, for members of the House of Representatives, we mind that there are legislative districts all over the Philippines. The districts are to be apportioned among the provinces and cities in Metro Manila. The appointment must be based on the number of inhabitants using a uniform and progressive ratio. Jurisprudence will give you the formula for that. And each legislative district must be contiguous, compact, and adjacent. But a city with a population of 250,000 must at least have one representative in the House of Reps. Regardless of the population, provinces, on the other hand, should have at least one representative. This case of SEMA versus Comelec is a very interesting case. It tells us of the move of the LGU in creating a new district according to Supreme Court, it's not with the LGU because their authority is only derivative legislation, but it's with the Congress itself because only Congress can increase its membership. Because when you create a new legislative district, it necessitates the creation of a new seat in Congress, and only Congress can increase its membership, not the LGU through an ordinance. In the case of Aquino versus Robredo, it is here clarified, distinguishing the city from a province, that each city with a population of 250,000 can have a representative. Regardless of the population, on the other hand, for provinces, they have at least one representative. This political phenomenon called gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is when you make legislative districts from non-conjoined, non-adjacent territories. Because remember, the principle in as we mentioned earlier is that each district are to be apportioned on the basis of proportional representation from contiguous, compact, and adjacent territories. Now, if they are not compact, adjacent, and contiguous, they are not the ideal, no? But they should not be permitted, no? Because that's gerrymandering. But remember here, for gerrymandering, it should be compact, adjacent, unless otherwise practicable. There is no absolute prohibition. So there has to be justification if a district could be composed of several separated areas, no? Because the Philippine geographic composition would permit of such separability or non-conjoining of legislative districts, or the areas of one legislative district. We have the party list system. The party list system is a part of the representation of Congress. The party list system is among the provisions in the Constitution that are not self-executing, because law has still to provide for the mechanism. So, Republic Act 7941, or the Party List System Act, provides for such a mechanism, or the details. 20% of the members of the House should at least be party list. They should be organized from underrepresented sectors. And one seat is given for every 2%ers of the party list, no? And they can only have at least a maximum of 3 seats. If a party list group fails to get 2% of the votes for 2 consecutive elections, they may lose their accreditation with COMELEC. They may be removed from the list. So this is how you get a seat if you're a party list representative, no? So each voter is only allowed to vote for one party list representative or party list group, not the representative but the group. So each party list is entitled, upon counting, and then you reach 2% of the total number of votes. For every 2%, you get 1 seat in the House of Representatives. But you can be given the maximum of, at least from 1 seat, you can be given a maximum of up to 3 seats in Congress, in the House of Representatives. So there's a maximum. But those who fail to get the 2% can still be given the chance to sit in Congress, in the lower house, because there's the mandate that the 20% seats of the entire Congress, the lower house, must be filled up. So even if you got a vote for your group, your party list na below 2%, you can still be given a chance, no? Those who obtained less than 2% intended for the party list system shall be given 1 seat based on ranking. So because the 20% of the seats must be filled up. So this is how it goes. According to ranking, maybe you got 1.9, 1.8%. They will be given the vacant seats until all the seats are occupied. So priority, those with the highest number who did not get the 2% are given kung sa aeroplano pa chance passenger sila. That's why we have party list groups that did not get the 2% in the last election, yet they are given the congressional seats because kailangan punuin talaga yung 20%. So, for example, in 2022, a voter elects for one party list, no? Out of the 178 party list groups, marami, 2022, there are 316 seats in the House of Reps, 253 for the districts, therefore, and 20% of the 316, are for the party list representatives. So what is the party list system? It is to give to the masses power. They should be empowered to enable them to become veritable lawmakers themselves, empowered to participate directly in the enactment of laws designed to benefit them. So they do not just rely on dole-outs, but they are participants in the lawmaking process. That's why they represent their cause. They are active participants in the mainstream of a representative democracy. One advantage in the party list system, by the way, is that you vote for issues and platform of government instead of personalities. This is the advantage that is being enjoyed by other jurisdictions as well in other parts of the globe. But our party list system, if you're studying political science, is not the same party list system in the other jurisdictions. It's a hybrid form. No? So a party list may be refused accreditation with COMELEC. They may not be, they may be excluded from the list, or their certificate of registration may be cancelled on the following grounds. So, well, if you're a religious denomination, you advocate violence, you're a foreign party, you're receiving support from a foreign government, you violate or fail to comply with election laws, you make untruthful statements in your petition, you cease to exist for a year, you fail to participate in the last two elections, or obtain you fail to obtain 2% of the votes, then you could be stricken out of the list. Remember this case of Angladlad versus Comelec, where the LGBTQ plus community was given the chance to run for congressional elections because of the legitimacy of their claims to issues that also affect the LGBTQ community. They were initially denied based on moral and religious grounds, but there is the separation of the church and the state, and the members of the LGBTQ must be given their chance regardless of the political stance of persons who decided their membership in the party list. Ang atong paglaom versus COMELEC changed the entire atmosphere for the party list, because before we had the notion that the party list should be marginalized and underrepresented. But according to the Supreme Court in atong paglaom versus COMELEC, to require the national and regional parties under the party list system to represent the marginalized and underrepresented is to deprive and exclude by a judicial fiat ideology-based and cause-oriented parties from the party list system. To exclude them from the party list system is to prevent them from joining the parliamentary struggle, leaving as their only option the armed struggle, said the COMELEC, or said the Supreme Court. So dati, ang pagkakaintinda natin, ang party list ay marginalized and underrepresented. Ngayon, pwede na yung ideology-based, no? The likes, no? Under the party list system, an ideology-based or cause-oriented political party is clearly different from a sectoral party. There is no requirement under the law that a national or regional political party must represent the marginalized or underrepresented. So this changed the entire atmosphere for the party list. No? So we have the synchronized terms of office for members of Senate this time. Section 1 of the Senate senators elected in 1992, the first 12 will only be allowed 3 years, while the highest 12 will be given 6 years full term, and the next 12 will only be good for 3 years of term. No? This is how it appears. So in 1992, we elected for 24 senators in 1992. So the higher 12 were given the chance to serve for the maximum of 6 years, the entire duration. But the lower 12 only served for 3 years. The effect of that is that those who served the entire full term, their terms expire on 1998, while those who are allowed only to serve for 3 years, they have their terms expiring on 1995. So that in 1995, another 12, a new set of 12 senators will be elected to serve now for the entire term. Those who fully served as um, voted initially in 1992 will then have then serve their entire terms in 1998. Now they will have um, that overlap with the new senators who will serve until 2001. So may overlap, an overlap of the old with the new. Okay, so um, that goes on until the succeeding elections. So there is a synchronized term of office for the members of um, the Senate. No? For members of the lower house, we have no issue because they are only good for 3 years per term. But again, their terms are good for three consecutive terms. So they could run for 3 times consecutively and win. For senators, they can only have 2 consecutive terms. So despite the synchronized office legislation, um, for the because Senate has synchronized terms of office, um, even if they tawag nito, um, even if their terms are overlapping and the composition changes, no? Sabi ng Supreme Court, the Senate must be viewed as a collective body apart from the senators comprising it. They are indivisible. Senators come and go, but the very institution of the Senate remains. It is this indivisible institution which should be viewed as continuing. Kasi if you look at the synchronized terms of office here, really, there is continuity because of the overlap of terms. But the membership, half of it, at least half of it, changes every 3 years. But still, it is considered as one Senate despite the changes and overlapping memberships. Election of members of Congress, unless otherwise provided by law, second Monday of May. Okay, every 3 years. There's a special election in case of the vacancy of the members of the Senate or the House of Reps. Special election may be called to fill up such vacancy prescribed by law. Its funds shall be provided for in the regular or special appropriations, and once approved, shall be released automatically. So you look at the law, take this on election laws, no? RA 6645 on how to fill up the vacancy in Congress. So that's it for now. See you on the next video.